Hey there, it's Delight. Today we're going to talk about continue with our Pokey Little Puppy junk journal. We've already taken it apart. We have the original covers and the two signatures, which are in all the little golden books. So we know that we are going to have 3 pages for 2 signatures. But this book I'm going to put 3 signatures in because of the circumstances of the book. It's for a friend, a lady who has a new baby boy and a toddler baby boy. And it will just be for special things for them, not really to use as a baby book. So I'm going to put 3 signatures in it for sure. So I got into my computer and discovered some graphics that I had that were puppy dog related. I got these from an Etsy artist, and I apologize I can't put the link or tell you about it. I've had these for a long time, ever since I was making cards up in Cleveland. A lot of dog and cat cards. There was always one whole row of dog and cat cards. So these are old, and I can't tell you where I got them, but I just love them, and I've used them over and over. And the lady doesn't have an Etsy site anymore, so I apologize for that. But these are the kind of things you find when you roam around on Etsy. You just go in and just Google cute dog graphics and see what you can find. But these will be, I will use these mostly for embellishments. This particular time, I'm not going to have a core set of pre-printed papers to use for the signatures as I usually do. So this is the way you do it when you perhaps you don't have the capability of buying a kit or pre-printed papers and printing your own, and you're going to be just using what you can find, and you can do it that way too. You don't have to print your own papers like some of us do. So this particular junk journal will be a good example for you in how you can do that with papers that you find that you do not print on your own. One of the things, since this is a puppy, I found at the charity shop was this puppy training for kids book, and it's really got a wealth of information that I can use for both for in the signatures and also for pockets and tip-ins and all kinds of other things. So I will probably use as a core in my junk journal the pages from the actual Pokey Little Puppy book, and also some pages from this. So these are what I will be using in lieu of the usual pre-printed kits, because these will make just charming papers. And as you can see, they're not terribly large compared to the original books. This will be the size of the book, so these will have to be trimmed down. But as you can see, trimming that down will keep the image intact. And this way, there's no problem at all because the margins are big enough that you won't lose a lot. So these are the papers that I will use for the signatures, and in addition to those, I will use some other papers. The mother, in this case, I used to sing in the choir with her, and so I know I want to use music. And these are some of the kind of books you find when you start collecting books from library sales and used bookstores. This is an old song book. This is really old. It's children's songs, and I really love it. So I'm probably going to use a song or two out of here. But this paper, this is an old book. It's really old, so it's been damaged, so I don't even have the information, the publishing information on the front. So I have no idea how old this is, but you can tell from the yellowing, but it is heavy. nice heavy paper, so it's not too bad. So we'll probably use some of this. I also got a My Book House book. I remember these series. These were sort of like, they were from, they were sort of like an encyclopedia for kids. And they had all kinds of them. And this is In Your Hands, a Parent's Guidebook. And it has really nice art. And it talks in here, it has creative play and creative expression and clay modeling and happy hours with scissors and folding. And so probably I'll take some of these, but these will be used, folded. Even so, these I'll probably fold, and they won't be quite as big, but they're big enough, and they'll be a feature page. And so I'll just have to check judiciously to make sure that it's not something that looks really terrible sideways. But probably this is the way I'll use these papers. But they will definitely be in there. And because the mom is a singer, if I need extra paper, I will use pages out of this Messiah book, which I found at Haslam's bookstore in Tampa. We have the most wonderful used bookstore, and I get there occasionally, and when I do, I always come out with a tote bag full. And this was one that I bought. I don't remember what I paid for it, but I think maybe like $4 or something like that. But it's a nice quality paper, and it's, as you can see, I've been using it. I cut on it, and it's really nice quality paper, and it's white. That's the thing about this. This particular one, because it's the original pages are white background, I will be using white and blue. I will not distress ink these pages, because that isn't the kind of book it is. It needs to be a little more cleaner than that, and so that's the way we're going to do it. So those are some of the musical papers. Other things we'll use will be, I found this at a resale, and I just am so thrilled with it. I don't think it's even real old, but it has sections of papers. I don't know whether you can see it or not, whether it'll show, but these are papers that have graphs sort of thing made out of dots. They're just little lines of dots. They're horizontal and vertical lines of dots. And it's something different. It's going to be nice. And again, they'll probably be folded unless I decide to, I don't know, I haven't torn this apart yet. Maybe when I tear it apart, I'll be able to get some out of it. And it has it also came with this lovely folding pocket at the end, and you know that's going to go into one, but not this one, because I will want to use this full size. So that's something that you can use. Another thing you can use are graph papers. This one, as you can see, I got at a real sale shop for 25 cents, and it's just plain old graph paper. And these are really nice to write on and to sketch on. I use them in my faith journals that I take to church all the time. So I can put several pages. I can put some of these, one or two of these, one for sure in each signature, maybe even two. So it'll make a nice paper for it. Another thing, I scored. I was at the resale shop, and they had this. This is a full ream of multi-purpose paper, 250 sheets, full ream, and it was 75 cents, and it is blue, and I use a lot of blue, and it is a good quality copier paper, so that is exciting. I will use that. These are the things you find when you go to resale shops. Another thing you find a lot of times at resale shops are computer papers, packages of computer papers like this. These are printer papers. There's only 30 in there for inkjet printing. But, you know, people get these and they make one or two, or they get them and then they don't want them. And this was at the resale shop, had been marked down and was down to 10 cents. And it's a good quality paper, very good quality paper. And I'll probably use this because it's got garden-y type things and puppies go outside. So, and it's got some blue and some green, so the palette works really well with the palette of the book. So I'll probably use some of these. So you can find things like that. This is another one that I found at a resale shop, and it's computer paper, but it's not this thick quality. It's a little thin, but that's kind of fun too. So, and it's got blues and greens and yellows, so I'll probably use that. I'm all excited because at the Dollar General store, they just got these in. They are coloring books, giant coloring books that a number of people can color in at the same time, apparently. But they have huge, big pictures in, and they're big sheets of paper. The Pokey Little Puppy book is not so critical because it's quite small. But when I'm doing one that's 5.5 by 8 3/4 or something, these will be just wonderful. And they're just sort of, you know, they're not, some of them are nothing. I mean, when they're put in, the designs won't show. But this one's got a puppy and sort of living in a treehouse. So how fun will that be? And I can use this on a page where it will be a feature, and it'll just be fun. And if they want to color it, they can color it, and then the mother will have their artwork in their book. This is obvious one where the kids writing paper, this paper where they learn to write. I guess they don't do cursive anymore, which they should, but they don't. So, but if they learn, when they're learning to write, this has the dotted lines and the straight and the solid lines. So this is a writing guide paper. So of course we'll use some of that. Again, from the dollar store, not expensive stuff. This was a resale shop find. It's got a real fine grid. It's graph paper with a finer grid, so that'll be something a little bit different from the other ones. So I'll probably use them both, and I probably will decide I'll use the whole page. So I like to get this kind of thing, even though it's sideways like this. It's just interesting. And I may put some washi tape on it or something. But again, and this was another from the resale shop, so I don't usually pay more than about $1/4 for these things. And of course we'll want to do some tracing paper because it's good to have crunchy stuff in. And I'm not going to have tea-dyed paper in this one, so I won't have that texture that you get from the tea-dyed baked paper. So I like to put some tissue paper in. You can write on it, they can certainly draw on it, and you can also use it to put pictures, because I'm sure she'll be printing out some pictures. On the junk journals, the premium prints are not so important. It's not like scrapbooking where you want to have a perfect picture that's, you know, an art picture. For these, they get very chunky. So really, if you just print them off, if you have the capability to print them off at home on just a piece of copy paper, it's not as heavy as the photograph paper. And it's, after all, it's the memories and the event to journal that's important for the junk journals. So it's not exactly the same as scrapbooking, even though a lot of scrapbookers like junk journals. But the junk journals are not used exactly like scrapbooks, even though you can they are used for memorabilia. So keep that in mind when you're doing this, and if you've got pictures on your phone and you just want to take them off and copy them on copy paper. It's not the real high quality gloss paper, but it doesn't matter. They're perfect for junk journals. So these are the kind of things that you can get. You don't have to have a pre-printed kit from an artist like an Etsy site or something. You can make these. We will be adding things like junk mail envelopes that are just plain, not printed on, and bags, especially the polka dot ones, and maybe the popcorn bags from the theater, just all those kind of things that would be appropriate for a kid, and things that you can collect. So start collecting, start looking around, and get together a stack of things that are interesting, and we'll start putting together our signatures for our junk journal Pokey Little Puppy memory book. Enough said.